Welcome to today's video. Today we'll be counting down RuPaul's Drag Race Season 16, Episode 9 Power Rankings. Who are the true contenders for the crown? We have 7 queens left. Let's get started. If this is the first time you are watching one of my videos, this is the methodology I use to develop my power rankings. We've got track record, the number of confessionals that a queen has, as well as just the general vibes. Even if a queen isn't doing the best or having the most confessionals, they might just have great vibes around them and might be portrayed in an amazing way. So that's why we are power ranking our way to number 1 for episode 9. Let's get started. This week we had one of the most shocking eliminations in Drag Race history by losing Plasma on the most recent episode. Plasma was one of the frontrunners for the crown. She at one point was number 1 on my power rankings, and last week she was number 3, which just emphasizes how surprising it was to lose Plasma at this point. I think we shouldn't have been completely surprised that she didn't do well in the design challenge, since the last design challenge she also didn't perform super spectacular, and she did also lose the lip sync to Maya, which explains why she went home. It wasn't an undeserving elimination by any means, but it still had lots of fans going crazy all over Twitter, all over Reddit, all over the different communities, just to say that they really missed Plasma and also bag on Maya. And I love Maya. I think she deservedly won the lip sync. I think she is an amazing queen and doesn't deserve the hate, but it just exemplifies the loss of Plasma and how shocking it was this week. If you haven't seen already, go check out Plasma's YouTube channel and see her performance to Bloody Mary in her music video. It's great. Definitely check out Plasma. She has a lot to show and will be somebody we will definitely be seeing back on our screens, and she's got a lot ahead of her. To start off the power rankings, once again, I have Maya Iman LePage in at number 7. She has the worst track record and the lowest number of confessionals of all the queens. The one thing that's keeping her in the competition is her amazing lip syncs, and I will say all 3 of them were amazing lip syncs. We've seen a lot of queens lip sync multiple times, and sometimes you're just kind of thinking, that one was just okay. But every single time Maya brought something interesting to the lip syncs and rightfully won each of the lip syncs. I think we likely won't see her in the bottom next week. That's just my prediction, unless something crazy or rigged happens, because it's a performance challenge and that's what Maya does best. She then has a chance to make it to the top 6, and if she keeps lip syncing the way that she is, she could make it all the way to the end. And we'll see what happens with Maya. I still love her. She's still my favorite queen of the season. At this point though, with her track record and confessionals and just the way that she's portrayed, she's in at number 7. Looking at number 6, I have Morphine, who is now, with Plasma being eliminated the most recent episode, Morphine is the established narrator for the season, which doesn't always mean that they're a true contender for the crown. Morphine's kind of been getting progressively worse with her track record, being in the low position twice in the last 3 weeks and lip syncing last week. I think the judges really aren't getting what they wanted from Morphine. With a performance challenge coming up, she also has a chance of sticking around for another week because she is a great performer, but with us getting down to 7 queens at this point, I think anything could happen. So that's why I've got Morphine down at number 6. In the 5th position, I have Dawn. Dawn is somebody who has been in the middle for pretty much the entire competition. She had 1 high placement in the doll design challenge, and I placed her high this most recent week just because her look was one of the best of the week, and if she wasn't on a season with Nymphia or Q, she probably would be winning some of these design challenges. But this is just a seamstress heavy season, so Dawn hasn't really had her chance to shine. When it comes to confessionals, she is also directly in the middle of the competition, and I think that Dawn really hasn't had her breakout moment yet this season. She needs to just keep working with the performance challenge. She always does well with those, but this might be the point where the judges decide to sacrifice Dawn. Time will tell. We'll see on the most recent episode what's going to happen, but I really think Dawn is really the middle queen for this season. In 4th position, I have Q. Q has number 1 track record now and is number 3 in the confessionals. And I think that Q is a strong contender for the crown, if not for one thing, and that's fan reception. The fans are just not vibing with Q and are still salty about her sending home a mandatory meeting on episode 4 of this season. So that's really the challenge that we're running into with Q, is that the fans are just not vibing with her. If you were on Twitter or Reddit, this most recent episode, with her winning the challenge, fans were outraged that she won, even though she had an amazing look that she made in a single day. But at this point, we still have Q in the competition. I think that she has a chance of placing low and potentially going home next week with another performance challenge, but she did kind of redeem herself with her performance in the Rusical. So time will tell with Q. Stay tuned on Friday to see what happens next, but at this point I've got Q at number 4. At number 3 is Plain Jane. Plain Jane I had up at number 2 last week, and if you look at her numbers here with track record and confessionals, she is far and away the leader for the season, with the highest track record tied with Q and the second most confessionals just behind Morphine. The problem with Plain Jane is that she's still seen as a villain amongst fans, and ever since Tyra Sanchez, they have not crowned a villain to win the season. I do think she's kind of getting a redemption arc, but the fans are still harping on her sort of villainous and shady ways from earlier in the season. I do think she could have placed low in the most recent episode over Morphine because both of their looks were kind of safe within the realm of all the other queens this past week, but the fact that they placed her safe shows us that she is higher on the judges' radar than someone like Morphine. I think Plain Jane still has an outside chance of being crowned, but based on what we've seen so far, I think there are really only 2 queens left in the competition who are viable to crown based on what we've seen so far, unless something crazy happens. So let's see who those 2 are. In second place, I have Nymphia Wind. Nymphia has the 3rd best track record and the 6th most confessionals. The thing with Nymphia is that fans just adore her. They think that everything she does is amazing, no matter what she does, and with her winning a challenge where Megami wrote her lyrics, fans don't seem to care, even though they were bent out of shape that Saphira made Maya's look. In this most recent episode, when it comes to Nymphia, when it comes to a fan fave, they don't care. And that's what we're seeing with Nymphia. She may be kind of hidden in the most recent episodes with her confessionals, but she's kind of making a comeback, which many queens do who may have been quieter at the start of the season on their way to being crowned. So with Nymphia, she's up to number 2. I think she has a great chance of being crowned, and I think she's a very talented queen. So she is the first option that I think we have to crown at this point. The second option, and I think at this point the higher rated option in the judges' eyes, is Saphira Cristál. We've seen how amazing of a queen she is. She's really proven herself with her design abilities, with her performance abilities, with her comedy chops. She is a well-rounded queen, and she's also a seasoned queen, which I think Ru does appreciate, in addition to kind of those born-to-do drag queens. With her helping out Maya this week, even though that was damaging to Maya's perception, Saphira came off looking amazing, being a queen that was able to make an amazing dress for herself and an amazing dress for her friend. I think Saphira has a great chance of winning this season, and I would be happy to see her win, of course. At this point, I think she is the front runner for the crown, and with another performance challenge, we'll see just how talented Saphira is at what she does. So at this point, what do you think? Do you think there are any other viable options to crown at this point? Are Saphira and Nymphia really the only options left? Does Plain Jane have a chance? Am I underrating Q? Is Maya going to lip sync her way to the end? Let me know in the comments.